Hey guys, Scott Fishman here for Wrestling Inc. And today I have a big treat for you. She made time for us all the way from Australia. Kellyanne, how you doing today?
Hello, I'm very well. How are you going?
I'm good. I'm good. It's great talking to you. And doing my research, it's just an amazing story that you have. And it's such a great body of work as well. When I think
Thank you.
about, just your story, I think about, it's very similar to that of like Paige with like fighting with my family, minus the huge family, because I know you have a single mom who raised you.
Yeah.
Um, what was your kind of first wrestling memory you would say that really got you hooked?
Oh, okay. So it would have been when I was playing PlayStation 1. I was playing Tekken at the time, and my brother came home with a game, and he's like, "Oh, I've got this fighting game. Like, you'll love it." And I was like, "Oh, okay, right, whatever." So he puts it on, and it's wrestling, but I didn't know what that was. I was about 9. And then I found a character on there called Lita. And when I started playing her, I was obsessed. It got to the point where I went down every day to the video store because we couldn't afford cable. And I would order all the videos, all the pay-per-views. My first match I ever saw was Kane and X-Pac versus was it the Acolytes, I think, as a team.
Hmm.
And I was hooked. And ever since then, 9 up until now, I've been obsessed.
Wow, that's that's amazing. And then you have so many trainers over the years. Who really kind of taught you kind of the fundamentals? And I mean, when even back then, years and years ago, women's wrestling isn't
Yeah.
what it is today. Where you're
Mm.
probably it was more of a boys' club, compared
Yeah.
to what it is today. So, kind of talk about just how you kind of came into it. Maybe there were kind of days where you maybe were thinking maybe I shouldn't get into this, but then you kept moving
Yeah.
forward. So talk about that early journey and what that was like.
Yeah, sure. So it was when I was 13, I said to my mum, I want to be a wrestler. And my mum is a saint and she supported me from day one. I had no idea that there was wrestling in Australia. No idea at all. I thought if I want to be a wrestler, I have to go to America. One day, pure luck, I was walking down the street and there was a pole with a poster on there for PCW, which was a local company here. And I ripped it down and I grabbed my best friend, and because she was into wrestling as well at the time. And I said to mum, I'm like, Mum, we have to go. We have to go. This is wrestling. And we go to the first show, and I didn't know what to expect because all I'd seen was WWE, the big stage. So when I walk into this basketball court with a ring in the middle of the place, I was like, oh shit. Like, but as soon as the show started, I was absolutely hooked. And I went up and found out about the training, except I was too young. So my mum lied for me, and I pretended I was 16 at the age of 13,
Wow.
and I started training. There really wasn't a time where I ever doubted it, ever. Up when I turned 18, I decided to train with Lance Storm, and that was easily the it cemented for me that I wanted to be a wrestler. Then I knew that this was what I wanted to make a living off. Training with Lance completely opened my eyes to the art of wrestling. Before Lance, I wouldn't say I understood exactly what wrestling was psychology wise and everything. And the 3 months with Lance, it filled me with so much confidence. He really took to me and a few others in that class as well. And I would say out of all the trainers, he's definitely the most special to me because if it wasn't for him, there is no way I would be as confident as I am in the ring.
What do you like? You look at what Australia, and then I didn't. When you look back at the history of independent wrestling in Australia, it seems like it's booming right now with so much variety. Talk about what the landscape and what the scene of Australian wrestling is right now.
Sure. So I think for a few years we weren't really on the radar at all. I think England kind of overshined us in that regard. Um, and for me, Australia is such an untouched market, and the amount of experience and talent within Australia is amazing. For me, my home company, MCW, I believe that they have the best production and they have worked with Progress and they've done a few things in that. And it really did get the eyes on us. The only thing is that obviously being from Australia, for us to make any kind of money or exposure, we have to use our own money and travel to America, to Europe and everything. So it's very hard to get the eyes on you. And especially if you're not social media savvy, it's very hard. So I believe Australia has some of the hardest workers, the most dedicated workers, absolutely. And for me, for Ring of Honor to see us and take 3 of who I think are the best to represent Australia was amazing. And I think it's just the beginning. So many of our workers are currently in WWE, but for me, I feel like us making a name for ourselves on the independent scene is what's really going to grow. Or I think it will help Australia grow in a sense. Entirely. I'm sorry. I've had so much coffee. I've had about 4 coffees.
I mean, for people that don't know, it's in the evening where I am in Florida.
Yeah.
And in Australia, what time is it there right now?
It's only 9:20. So
9:20. Okay, so we understand. We'll forgive you.
But yeah, it's a very untouched place, and I think it's just beginning now. Obviously, the timing in the world is horrible, but it's now beginning to really make a name for itself.
So, I mean, representation is so important. And you touched on it there, how many wrestlers now coming over from Australia, not just wrestlers, but women's wrestlers, many that you've been in the ring with, like a Rhea Ripley. I mean, Tony Storm. What is it like for you to kind of see women that you work with? Even, Jordan Grace was even over there. I know you had matches with her as well. So how excited are you to see that kind of opening the door for you and others to come in?
Yeah, look, the women in Australia, especially Madison Eagles, I think is a pioneer in women's wrestling in general. If it wasn't for Madison Eagles, a lot of us wouldn't have had the opportunities we've had in Shimmer, Japan, and whatnot. So for me, I've always idolized Madison, and working with girls. I was young compared to everyone. So it was always weird for me to be some of the most experienced wrestlers, and I'm trying to help out these younger girls when I'm all like their age at the same time. So for me to see girls like Demi, Indy Hartwell, people that I had their first matches with, it makes me proud on behalf of them. And of course with that, there came a point, as you can imagine, that, I felt like, oh, when's my time coming? You know what I mean? But I've always thought that everyone has their own path in wrestling, and it depends. It's up to you what you want to do with it. But yeah, I'm really proud of the women. I think we've really stuck it to the men in a sense. Yeah.
Is there any advice that you've been given for other women who have come over and broken through that you've gotten from them?
Okay, yes. The best advice I was ever given was wrestle like a man. When we grew up watching wrestling, my generation anyways, most of it was the TNA kind of style, it was very much the women doing what the women do, sexualized and all that, whatever. So a lot of us grew up watching that, and that's all we knew and that's all we could replicate. But to me, when I was told wrestle like a man, that's when everything kind of opened up for me. I was then watching people like Tim Thatcher. I was then watching, the most amazing wrestlers in the world. And I thought, why the hell can't I do that? Why do I have to wrestle like a woman? There's no reason as to why we can't be just as good as them. And for me, I'm a strong believer in, if you love something so much, you will become good at it. If you love it that much, there is no way you won't be good at it. So the best advice for women out there is wrestle like a man.
When it comes to Ring of Honor, you talk about, bringing over talent from with you part of the Women of Honor. How many opportunities before that have you ever gotten from a major company, any interest or tryouts, or tell us about your experience with any of that?
Okay, it's a sad story time. When I was 19, I did my first WWE tryout. And all I knew at that time was WWE. That's all I wanted to do. All I wanted to be was WWE, And I went to the tryout, and it was the most disheartening experience of my life.
Wow.
They already knew who they wanted to hire. We were just there. So we were literally wasting our time. And then after that experience, I was extremely demotivated for a few months with wrestling in general. It was very hard for me to come back from that. And then, you know, I started making a name for myself, you know, doing Shimmer, going to Europe, training, and really enjoying wrestling for what it was and not just focusing on the end goal. I decided at the age of 19 after that tryout that that's it. I don't care about WWE. I'm done. I don't want to do it. And I knew that all I wanted to do was be known for being very good at wrestling. You know, that
Mhm.
like that's what I care about. That's what I love. And to be honest, to see what WWE has become today, it's not the wrestling I fell in love with and why I started wrestling. So yeah, I mean, that was my brush with WWE. I had another small little thing where they came down and watched us train and stuff. And, you know, Kellyanne would always fill me with some nice comments, but to no avail. So honestly, Ring of Honor came around at the perfect time, because that's when I was my most down. That was about a year ago. I just felt completely demotivated, seeing everyone else, you know, propelled to success. And I felt like I was just here running along, trying to keep up. I'm really bad at social media. I don't like it. I hate it with a passion. If I wasn't a wrestler, I wouldn't have it. And that's my downfall, because I know for a fact if I did certain things that others do, I probably would be more well known, but I would be selling out. So yeah,
It's all
that
about branding though nowadays as a
exactly
wrestler.
right.
Yeah.
That's it. And yeah, so that tryout, although it was bad, it was probably the best thing to ever happen to
Everything's a
me.
learning experience. I'm a firm believer in everything happening for a reason. So,
Exactly right. Exactly.
you mentioned, just sad stories. I mean, I remember I see a tweet from April 27th where you were meant to make your debut for Ring of Honor on this day for the Quest for Gold tournament. Tell me just, tell me how you've been getting through the last couple of months and what that all these weeks have been, wondering what's going to happen with coronavirus and if I'm going to be able to
Yeah.
travel over here, if I'm going to be stuck here. What happened the last couple of months and just what's been getting you through and keeping you up? I know you're a big gamer, so I'm sure that kind
Yeah.
of helped.
Yeah. So finding out that I was going to be wrestling in the ECW arena was absolutely amazing. I was so excited. And then literally, 2 or 3 weeks later, you know, the whole coronavirus blew up. And for me, whenever something good happens, I know that something bad will happen. It's just how it is with my life. I was almost not surprised that I didn't get to go. I was like, well, of course, it's you. Like, of course that would happen. I was obviously devastated because this was my chance to really show the world what I could do. 13 odd years of training and, I haven't really been on the big stage of anything. So this was it. When I realized that I wouldn't be traveling for a while to Ring of Honor, I knew that I had to do something to keep myself out there and active, and also an outlet for myself, because this is the first break that I've ever taken from wrestling. I've never had a break ever, pretty much wrestling every weekend. So
How many years
my
have you been
body
wrestling at this point?
started at 13. I'm now 26. So I think, 13 years? Yeah, a long
Yeah,
time.
13 years. Wow.
So yeah, it's really tested me, and I think that the opportunity that Ring of Honor have given me to create my own content online has been probably the best thing ever, because it's now given me a chance to build myself up before I debut. The crowd can get to know me, they can see what I'm about, and I'm enjoying it. I love it. I love creating this content. I love poking fun at everyone. I love the satire. Like, us wrestlers, we take ourselves so seriously sometimes, and I think that I understand that at the moment, social media is all we have, but a lot of wrestlers put everything out there, everything of themselves, their true selves. And to me, it's just like, when I loved wrestling, I loved the characters, I loved the mystery. I didn't want to know what Kane's real name was. When I found out it was Glenn Jacobs, I was upset. When I found out Christian and Edge weren't brothers in real life, like, that upset me. And, I want to keep that magic alive. Like, that's what I want to do. So if I can do that with Ring of Honor, and if I can, make a name for myself doing that, I think this is the perfect opportunity. So as much as it's been you know, horrible not being able to wrestle, it's given me a completely different type of outlet for my character. So yeah.
What's the scene right there in Australia? Do you get a feel that things are going more? I mean, compared to here, it's like night and day, I'm sure. But what's life like there right now?
We are currently in stage 4 lockdown. We're allowed out of our house for 1 hour. We're not allowed to go any further than 5 kilometers from our house. We have to wear masks everywhere. So we're pretty much prisoner in our home.
Wow.
Yeah. For someone like me who plays a lot of games, it's okay.
Normal.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. It's kind of like my real life. So
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Well, you touch on what's the great content you're doing for Ring of Honor, just the
Mhm.
Q&A, the questions that you're getting on Twitter. I mean, what's kind of, now that you're getting this more exposure through Ring of Honor, even before you're
Yeah.
even debuting,
Yeah.
what's kind of is there any other question that's kind of surprised you? You're like, what the heck? Like, has you gotten anything that kind of
Look,
shocks
I'm
you?
sure you can imagine as a female that my inbox is filled with a lot of strange requests. So there's a few I can't say.
Okay.
But look, the questions themselves, like, I mean, I haven't come across anything too strange. I really I'm hoping that they start asking me questions that are not wrestling related. You know, I'd love that. But yeah, like the questions, you know, I like to have fun with them. I don't really like to answer them properly, if you haven't noticed. Like I just, yeah.
Almost like a character persona of your own. Yeah.
That's it. And that's the thing. No one actually knows the real me. And that's what I love about
A
it.
little
And no one,
we need a little bit more mystery right now in wrestling, right?
exactly right. So yeah, like I haven't had any strange questions. So if you want to send me some strange questions that have nothing to do with selling my soul,
You just
shoot
opened
'em
Pandora's
through.
box there. We'll see what happens.
That's it. That's it.
So Ring of Honor just announced that they're going to be doing shows again coming up.
Mm.
They have what kind of communication have you gotten from them? I know I read that they've been paying talent and staff and things like that. Talk about just the communication that you're getting, how they've handled this situation in your eyes,
Yeah,
and just what you think they're doing moving forward, and what compared to everyone
sure.
else.
Well, to me, it's night and day with Ring of Honor compared to any other company I'm a part of right now. They're in constant contact. They're constantly giving us opportunities for content online. I know at the moment they're trying to work out some shows that they can actually do over there. As for us being from another country, it's all up into the government. That's it. You know, it all depends on our visas and everything. They've I thought for a second that, oh no, the virus is going to take it out. They're not going to want to bother with me from Australia, you know, but they've really, really made me feel a part of the team without even meeting any of them. So yeah, they've been fantastic. You know, I know there's a lot of companies that have completely just not posted anything or just don't want anything to do with it. And that's fine. I understand because it is hard at the moment to put anything out. But I think that they've really made the most of this opportunity. And from what I know, there's a lot more to come from it. And yeah, they've been looking after us. So I can't complain.
Well, good things come to those who wait. I'm sure they're now.
Yeah.
I mean, hearing your
Yeah.
story is just amazing, and just how you carry yourself. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do in the Ring of Honor, especially at this stage of Women of Honor, where they're kind of building the foundation from the ground up all over again.
Mm.
It's like a new era that we're entering right now.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah. I think, you know, we've got a big shoes to fill because when I first started watching Ring of Honor, Sarah Del Rey was the main. She was my idol for a long time. I remember watching a match. It was her versus Kana, and I would say that they grappled for the majority of the time. They were always in contact, and that was the first time that I'd seen a female wrestler like wrestle. Do you know what I mean? So you know, if I can feel those footsteps, if I can try to become something like her, that's my goal.
Amazing.
Ring of
Oh,
Honor is the best stage to do it. Yeah.
yeah, no doubt. So for fans who, I know you mentioned not good at being at social media, but right now, where can they find you? And also, I mean, I feel like you should have a Twitch channel. I don't know if you have one, but Feel free to promote whatever you have going on.
Yeah, sure. Look, I did have a Twitch channel, but the truth is when I game, I swear a lot. So I knew straight away this is not a good idea. For me, Instagram is Kellyanne Fiend Club. There will be no gym selfies or any selfies of me, so I apologize. Twitter is Kellyanne Fiend C for Charlie. And my Facebook is Kelly and Fiend Club. So yeah, that's all of them. But unfortunately, yeah, I won't be posting what everyone wants to see at the moment.
And so you're the, sorry, Bray Wyatt, but I think you're the original Fiend, I guess you'd
Oh,
say.
don't get me started on that. I couldn't believe that. I was like, oh, come on.
Gimmick infringement. No.
Yeah, let's not go into that.
That'll be for another interview down the line.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Kellyanne, for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm sure the fans
worries.
appreciate your insight. Looking forward to seeing you in Ring of Honor.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry if I spoke very fast. Okay.
No, it was great. Thanks so much.